Welcome into Panther Talk. Anish Shroff, Szoke, Eugene Robinson, and the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. It is another victory Monday. That is 4 out of 5. Big win at Lambeau. Statement win against a team that went into the game as the number one team in the NFC. I know you're not allowed to get too high or too low for a win or a loss. We are, however. This one felt different, Dave.
For me, it was really just taking these opportunities to challenge our group and to understand that if we want to be the team we believe we can be, you have to be able to win these games. You have to put yourself at least in position to have a chance to win these games. And wanted the guys to just dream about being in this place, it's a special stadium, being at Lambeau Field and knowing that it was going to be an electric crowd and you're playing the best of the best. And how are we going to win this game? By being really, really detailed in our fundamentals, by taking care of the ball, by getting it away from them if we can, and doing right longer, finishing. And typically, I referenced, for the guys I've been to the playoffs a lot, in my career. I was really fortunate to be in Seattle for 13 years. 10 out of 13 years we went to the playoffs, to understand with each round that gets harder and harder. And there's a crazy pass rusher that is really challenging to deal with. And there's a quarterback that usually can spread the ball around and just try to build up the challenge for the guys to understand. We don't need to do anything different. We just got to do right longer. And to build the belief that was important for our guys to go up there and find that win.
And, of course, when you play at Lambeau, among the things, you play crowd noise and all that, but the temperature and the weather and all that kind of stuff, the wind in this particular case there. And obviously you talked about the beginning of the game and deciding to take the ball and having that. Was there a concern the wind might change? Was it swirling? And also part two of that, did it affect pass game in any kind of way in decision-making with that?
Absolutely. Certainly was, I can't remember which direction, but basically going to our right, from our bench, the wind was consistently blowing from right to left. So as we were going, and that ended up being the end zone, we scored both touchdowns. But a lot of that was run game, quicker throws. You saw we took an opportunity early on a go ball, and the ball kind of hung up there, and they got an interception out of it, and Bryce was going to try to sneak that ball into Xavier like he did a couple weeks ago for a touchdown, and they literally looked like it hit a wall of wind. Yeah. The ball hung up there, and they made a nice interception on that. But it certainly made both of us think about what we were doing. You watch the Packers go in the opposite direction, just launch the ball, 2 50-plus bombs. One of them they hit. 2 of them ended up, one incomplete, one interception. And while those things didn't work out for them, those are the type of attempts that they were trying to take in that direction. That was the direction we kicked the winning field goal in. And
Coach, can you talk about that winning field goal and the decision that the special teams coach said, and he told you, and then your choice in saying, okay, we're going to give those guys the ball, and then we'll take the win?
Yeah, and it was just, for us taking the ball and, twofold really, trying to make sure that we end up with the wind, at the end of the game, but also at the same time just going up to Bryce and saying, hey, we're taking the ball first, and Bryce being excited about getting back out there with his guys. He looked at me and he was like, cool, great. He was fired up, and in true Bryce fashion, like, you're not going to rattle him. Like, he's like, good, great, let's do it. That's what I'm here for. And he was excited to get that done.
And so, I'm sorry, Coach. And so then you take the ball, they get the ball in the second half, and then you guys have a choice of which way you're going to defend, correct?
I don't understand the full rule, honestly. when you defer, like we took the ball initially because we were trying to bank on how we can, decide if we were going to take it in the second half so we can end up with it in the fourth quarter. Is how I understand. I don't have the rule book right here, but
there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, but you're right.
It worked out. It all worked
right,
out.
Yes.
The run game continues to be a huge strength of this team. How have you been able to be so successful running the football with what seems just like constant change and injuries up front on the offensive line?
Great coaching. Harold Goodwin, Joe Gilbert, Dean Petzing. These are guys that spend so much time with our players, whether it's the younger guys just starting up or free agents that come in that we have to get prepared to play ball. And, I've talked about this before, but they're always working. They are always working on something. They're working on stunts. They're working on pressures. They're working on run game adjustments to different fronts, and the guys are into it. They hit the field, and it's work. And they hit the meeting rooms, and it's work. And these guys have a great time together. Got to talk about Taylor Moton, and he's been here through a couple of through a few different regime changes and then watching that offensive line room change. And, he had some really cool mentors early on when he got here. And he's continued to take that professionalism and have it show up every week.
And then it's all set up for Rico Dowdle in this particular game, and it had been very much a split the last 2 weeks with the series back and forth between him and Chuba. He gets the heavy workload in this game, and coming into the game, he'd been leading the league in yards after contact, running the ball, and he just continues, even though the other team knows that's what he does, to somehow fight through and get those yards.
It's been so amazing to just see the effect of the violence and the physicality, on the whole group, and it's everybody. It's the wide receivers and the tight ends and everybody, giving their contribution. But when you run a physical run, you finish the way he does, it just lights up the whole group. It lights up the sideline. The defensive guys watch that, and it just gives us a good feeling of like the type of football that we want to play.
Coach, what do you tell the defense to go ahead and reinforce what you saw yesterday? Because from the Bills to yesterday, it was different. They were violent. They were absolutely violent and getting after people.
Absolutely. And it was a different game plan. And we were able to troubleshoot some things that the Bills tried to hit us with and worked on those things during the week. They tried us on it a few times to no effect. They had other success and different types of runs, but it was minimizing the big plays. It was rallying and team tackling and getting the guys down that really led to the success that we had.
You get a couple of lighter moments, and you can appreciate them when you win. So Jim mentioned Rico Dowdle. I learned this morning who Hingle McCringleberry is.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently 2 pumps not in the rule book.
Yeah, we got to be smarter in that situation, and I think that if we would have we showed the video to the team, and it was made clear that any type of sexual movement or weapon showing a bow and arrow or a gun and all those things, it is not legal, and that could have hurt us. Mm-hmm. And so we got to be smarter in that situation. And I think we could probably got a little bit more clarity from Keegan-Michael Key if I would have just had him come in and present. I was just kidding. This was a skit. This is an actual game. So
I'm sure the social media team's all over that possibility.
I bet they are.
But Coach, when we talk about what Rico's been able to go ahead and do, I think it's a good position that you're in to have 2 backs that are capable backs of executing everything you have in your offense.
Absolutely, and gives you the confidence to be able to finish a game. Rico had to come out a couple times, and they sorted him out on the sideline. And while that happened, Chuba comes in, and we don't skip a beat, and he's ripping off runs like we were used to him doing, and making an amazing heads-up play on a fumble. Yeah. That was forward progress, and you watch, you see, if you look at that clip, there was a lot of people standing around. As Panthers, we pick up everything, offensively, defensively, or special teams. It's just a rule. It could look like the most clear, incomplete pass you've ever seen. Pick the ball up, and we just do that by habit. Chuba was on it and picked up a positive yard, a positive gain for us in that situation. So I just love for Chuba being able to get out there, whether it's run, pass pro, or coming out of the backfield and being able to just continue building our game the way we wanted to.
You've been in this league, as you said, with great success for many years here, and you see back-to-back weeks. You're at home against Buffalo. It's lopsided one way. You go to the toughest place to play in the league, get a win at Green Bay. I know you talk about processes, but what's the minutia of that kind of keeps you and everybody focused, where things are like so up and down? You don't want to be up and down, but you have to kind of navigate those times.
Yeah, just get back to work. Make sure that we capture each day, and right now, with the Victory Monday that we had, it's the guys getting to their body, making sure that they're recovering. It's about the mental and emotional and spiritual work that goes into this thing as well. It's a long season, and making sure you're filling your cup back up in these days so you can show back up on Wednesday and it's everything you got. And we got to nail that one
Coach,
day at a time.
I'm sorry, Coach. I want to go talk about special teams because, great kick at the end. But also, does it look like, just for me, it looks like ETN is about to hit it and break something each time. He just has this thing about him.
I really hope so. He presses the runs the right way, and there's some space in there, and I think the more opportunities he gets to see like where that space might be at. I've seen him as a running back be able to break tackles and do those things, and I'm really hopeful that he will do that. But what he's been doing a great job of is fielding the ball, and whether that's in the kickoff return unit or punt return unit, he's been fielding it great right now. And there's so much to say for just maintaining your field position by fielding the ball clean. That starts off. Whatever you give me after that is amazing, and it's icing on the cake, but it certainly helps us in those drives to make sure we save all those yards.
One word comes to mind, I think, through these first 9 games that stands out. It's resilience. and we've seen it in game. We've seen it after tough games. The bounce back ability of this team. What do you attribute that to?
It's our mentality. We pride ourselves on finish. It's something that I've been talking about since I've gotten here, and we have to be a team that prides itself on finish, regardless of the score, regardless of what the scenario is or the storylines or all those things. Finish is going to be our calling card. We finish everything we do and play it all the way to the end, and a lot of that is for pride. A lot of that is for us. It's also for the work that goes into it. You deserve to finish the right way because of all the work that's gone into it, and this is your career. Yep. And all these moments are you just don't know. And in this league, with the injuries that happen and all those different things, like this could be your last game. This could be your last opportunity. Let's take it all in. Let's be grateful for this moment and give everything we have.
Is there still a sense with you that, hey, we're 5-4, we're right there halfway through the season, but this team's best football may still be ahead of itself?
I believe that 100%. I have talked to our group, and we've talked about this together. We haven't seen our best football yet. And what that would look like is a complete game where we're making great decisions. Not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but to see all of the units functioning together, to see a young group on the offensive side where we've had flashes of this guy has a big game, now this guy has a big game. You're talking about T-Mac, who's been really consistent. Xavier shows up, I'm waiting for Jalen Coker to have a breakout game. He has looked amazing for 2 weeks now, and I think that a part of that is for Brad and I to put our heads together and say, how can we make Jalen Coker come alive? But a tight end group that's been so dependable and physical up front, and I just know what we can look like when we're hitting on all cylinders, and I'm looking forward to that.
And last thing for me, we'll let you go. Bryce threw for like 100 yards. Wasn't like a big statistical day. I think he's got 9 game-winning drives now in his very short career here. What does it say about you talk about finish? To have that quarterback that's been in that position has come through more often than not.
I watch his effect, and I'm learning that he doesn't change. He stays the same. And the great players that I've been around, they have an ability to stay the same, regardless of the moment, regardless of the score, however much time is on the clock. They stay the same and execute the way that we ask them to. And Bryce has shown an ability to do that. He's very comfortable in those situations, taking his drop, going through his progression, and getting the ball to his playmakers so that they can put us in a position to win. And that's what I love about Bryce. He always gives us a chance to win in challenging the group. Let's put ourselves in high stakes games so we can go and finish those games, because I know that we can do that.
It has been exciting to watch it all kind of come together, and big win Sunday at Green Bay. Panthers head coach Dave Canales, you're listening to the Carolina Panthers Radio Network.